Good afternoon and welcome to the daily Plymouth COVID-19 update. It is Monday, March 23rd. We have a jam-packed program for you today. I am Steve Triffletti, Plymouth Town Moderator. The purpose of this update is to provide you with verified information from authorities and qualified sources. We have a good panel today joining us. We're going to get right into it, and we're going to begin with the town update from Ken Tavares. He is Chair of the Plymouth Board of Selectmen. Welcome, Ken.
Good morning, good afternoon, Steve. Thank you. It certainly is a different morning. We've all by now have listened to the governor and the new request that he has, that is to stay at home, the stay-at-home order. I was going to begin before the governor's press conference with a thank you to the citizens of Plymouth for what they've been doing. And I want to re-emphasize that thank you gets a little bit bigger, because everything that the governor is talking about, we have been participating in and doing in Plymouth, so that the new requirements are not going to be a burden on anyone. I know that Matt will have a lot more information, but it certainly leaves open to us grocery stores, pharmacies, gas stations, takeout, financial services, liquor stores, medical marijuana. I mean, there's so much that we can do, and we've been doing it. I noticed yesterday that the groups were smaller in the community that were walking. The governor is saying that he wants us to restrict ourselves to groups of 10 or less. I think we've been doing that well, and this is going to be very easy for us to accommodate for the next 2 weeks. There's again many questions that people may have that I hope we can get to them today, but everything that I see here is doable, and it's going to keep us safe, and we'll get over that curve much sooner. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you. That was Kenneth Tavares. He is Chair of the Plymouth Board of Selectmen. Again, this is coming to you live on Monday, March 23rd, 2020. All of our participants are Zooming in. This is coming to you live from PACTV studios. We can take your questions at PlymouthInfo@pac-tv.org. That's PACTV.org. For those of you that wish to watch live, you can on Fios, Channel 47, Comcast Infinity, Channel 15, and live streaming on PACTV.org. We had a number of guests that were scheduled, some of whom are unable to be with us. Our Assistant Town Manager, Marlene McCollum, will join us on another day. Of course, they're busily working on implementing the governor's order. Also, Police Chief Michael Botieri is currently meeting with the Fire Chief, Ed Bradley, who's scheduled for tomorrow. They will be back on soon. And also, John Buckley, the Register of Deeds, will be coming on another day this week, but he wants you to know that you can check the website for the Plymouth County Registry of Deeds for updates, and they are still accepting recordings of filings at the Registry of Deeds, and they're doing that electronically. But right now, we're going to go to another Plymouth County official. We're thrilled today to have with us in the studio, coming to you by Zoom, Tim Cruz. He is the Plymouth County District Attorney, and welcome, Tim.
Thanks, Steve. It's great to be here, and I want to thank Plymouth for putting this forum on. I think it's really important for people to understand what it is exactly that's going on, not just at the local level, but also on the county level. So on behalf of the DA's office, I want people to know that we're still hard at work, although the majority of the people that work in our office are working remotely from home. What we've done is we've removed people to a skeletal staff in our 4 district courts, which is Brockton, Hingham, Wareham, and Plymouth, so that every court has an assistant district attorney, 1 administrative assistant, and 1 victim witness advocate who could help somebody that if potentially something occurred. Because what we're doing right now is we're working in conjunction with the standing orders from the Superior Court, from the Supreme Judicial Court, which basically has stopped the vast majority of court proceedings in Plymouth County and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, really until about April 21. So if you have received a notice regarding being a witness or a victim in a case, or even a juror in a case until April 21, you should know that you don't need to appear, because all of those functions have ceased. The only time that we're bringing in individuals to talk potentially in court are extreme emergencies, whether that may be a restraining order that needs to have a physical testimony, and or if somebody's got a Section 35 where somebody needs to be placed in a treatment center because of an addiction problem that they have. So the people are continuing to work together really hard, making sure that we're doing our arraignments are via teleconference, so that if an individual is arrested on a charge, they're not physically being brought to the court. And if an individual has a bail review because they're being held, they're not physically being brought to the court. That's all being done via teleconference or video conference right now to minimize the amount of things that are going on or the amount of contact that people have. And I think if by some chance, if you stopped at the Plymouth District Court, you would be greeted by a court officer on the other side who would ask you your business and making sure that more likely than not, we won't be doing anything with your case. And what they're doing with any pending cases are continuing them. We're not picking dates right now per se, but it'll be for at least probably 30 to 45 days. And the assistant DAs in my office will work out with the lawyers. If somebody has, say, a speeding ticket and had a show cause hearing, they're also going to be rescheduled. So you wouldn't have to go to court for that. And if you do have jury duty notice, like last week, I was supposed to be on jury duty last Thursday. When I called the number that I was supposed to call, they informed us at that time that you did not need to appear at that time unless you were on a pending case. Since that time, all of those cases that were pending statewide have been deemed to be mistrials, and they're going to start them all over again. Some of them, as I understand, were very serious matters in other counties. We did not have to deal with that per se. But I want people to understand that if you have any questions regarding anything as pertains to the legal system, anything as pertains to cases that may be ongoing, to feel free to call the district attorney's office at 508-584-8120, and we will direct you to the appropriate place to go. One other thing I wanted to talk about is that as I'm on the board of the National District Attorneys Association, and all of us DAs across America are talking to each other. All of us DAs here in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts are also, we had a phone conference last week. We're all talking about what we're doing, comparing notes in this unprecedented time. But we should make sure that people are also aware that right now, unfortunately, there are individuals out there who look at crises such as the coronavirus as an opportunity to prey on people. Make sure that if somebody is trying to sell you something that's too good, usually via email, whether it's going to be a treatment scam, it's going to be some sort of health scam or some sort of thing to put money into, make sure you reach out to either the Plymouth County DA's office at the number I gave, or the Massachusetts Attorney General Maura Healey, or the U.S. Attorney Andrew Lelling. All of us will be working together to make sure that we deal with people who are not trying to take the benefit and scare people. Because right now is not a time to be scared. And I think that here in Plymouth, we have a great group of professional people across the board, not just here in the town, but across the county, who are working and dealing with this issue until we're in a position to say, here's where we're going to be put things back to normal. Until they are normal, just be aware that if something happens in your community, do not hesitate to call the police and or the fire. And Chief Botteri and Chief Bradley will be able to expound on that. But when we're dealing with domestic violence situations, remember, if you are in a situation, the coronavirus will not stop, unfortunately, some of the crimes that occur. And there is help out there. People can help you. And that's what we're here for. So there are numbers that they're going to produce at the end of this, health imperatives, and also from SafeLink here in the county of Plymouth, that if you need help, help is there. And that we need to continue to work together. So until that time, I say, I commend everybody down here in Plymouth, and I say, be well. We will get through this, and we'll make sure that everybody's as safe as possible.
Thank you. That is Tim Cruz. He is the Plymouth County District Attorney. He makes a very good point. We as public officials are working very closely together. Selectman Chair Ken Tavares, Representative Matt Muratore, and I are working closely with local, county, and state officials. And you'll see it as we continue to bring them in to communicate to you. We're hard at work. With respect to the District Attorney's Office, today's governor's order also provides for ongoing professional services such as legal and accounting to assist in compliance with legally mandated activities. So the District Attorney's Office, the courts, they will still have the support of legal professionals in order to work with them. At this time, we're going to go to one of our Plymouth officials, Chad Hunter. He is the Harbormaster for the town of Plymouth. And Chad, I think people want to know, are fishermen and people who do lobstering still able to go out? Tell us a little bit about what's happening in your corner of the world. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Steve. So yes, we've had actually the aquaculture industry has still been active. This is sort of the time of year where they're returning gear and seed to the flats that they've overwintered on land. So we've seen a lot of activity with them, and we obviously want to be here in case they run into any troubles. The lobstermen have yet to return their gear to the water. They have a May 1st deadline that after May 1st, they can start to put gear back in. We're watching that quite closely because of the falling prices of lobster. We're not sure how many lobstermen are going to be going out May 2nd, May 1st to drop gear. So, you know, some of the economy will maybe change their sort of returning to the water so soon. The one thing that we have seen, you know, people practicing social distancing. Fishing has actually been a great way to do that. And I took a ride through Morton Park over this past couple of days, and you know, what we see there's more bass boats and kayaks, people out there fishing, enjoying themselves, obviously practicing social distancing from each other. And with that is the concern of anybody that runs into trouble on the ponds as well. So we've been trying to be proactive and sort of conduct inspections, make sure people have life jackets with them. Some of the paddle sports, they're required to wear the life jackets this time of year because of the water being so cold. So, you know, we're able to sort of remotely do that, just make sure that they're practicing safe operation and obviously be there for any sort of response that's needed. Our staff has been practicing social distancing as well. They've all been sort of working from the vehicles. I'm assigned to the office, so we all have sort of our separate workspaces. And in the event of a needed response, we come together and obviously respond accordingly. So we've seen you know, how this has sort of played a role in maybe some changes. Not sure how the governor's action today is going to affect the commercial fisheries. But yes, definitely uncertain times, but obviously we're here to provide any response needed.
Thank you. That is Chad Hunter. He is the Plymouth Harbormaster. He and all of the other guests today will continue to be here for your questions, provide answers, and you'll be hearing from them all again before we wind up. Again, your questions can go to PlymouthInfo@pac-tv.org. Every day we're going to bring in a business leader to address the concerns of the business community in the town of Plymouth. Once again, today we welcome Amy Naples. She is the Executive Director for the Plymouth Area Chamber of Commerce. Welcome, Amy.
Hello, Steve. Thank you. Thank you again for having me. First and foremost, I just want to thank everyone who is out there supporting our local businesses. I'm hearing from our members that the support has been wonderful. So let's continue with those efforts safely, of course, and by abiding by the governor's order. So the new stay in place order by the governor issued has our phones and emails off the hook this morning. And businesses are wondering if they are essential. So we are working through those, working with Matt Muratore's office and identifying whether a business is considered essential or not. In addition, we are working on ways to help businesses work remotely. We have some information on our website, PlymouthChamber.com, for tools and technology that allows businesses to work remotely. Yesterday, you had a question, actually, I wanted to address by a call or by an email, and it was regarding the drive-through restaurants and the safety concerns for consumers. So I just wanted to let you know that restaurants have communicated that additional sanitation precautions to avoid health risks and minimize the spread of virus have been made and continue to be made. Drive-throughs where they're handling cash and cards, employees are changing food service gloves after every customer. And many restaurants at this time are only accepting credit cards. So I did want to address that. In addition, the town of Plymouth has been in constant communication with the food establishments that are open, and have made recommendations from the public health department to implement preventative and additional measures, and the importance to discuss those measures with their staff. The town is also going to be doing inspections periodically to ensure the safety of our community. So that's just something I wanted to add from yesterday's show. For our small businesses tuning in, we are researching and compiling grants and relief efforts and adding them to the Plymouth Area Chamber's website, plymouthchamber.com, on the COVID-19 page, as well as sharing on our Facebook page, Plymouth Area Chamber. I did want to mention the Commonwealth's COVID-19 recovery loan is no longer accepting applications. If you have submitted an application, it will be reviewed. But as of Thursday, no new applications could be submitted. However, the SBA disaster loan still is accepting applications. Additional loan programs, I believe, will be rolled out through larger organizations and companies such as Facebook. So we will be communicating that and as well putting that on our website. If you have any questions about those loans and recovery reliefs, you can certainly call me directly at 508-830-1620 or by email amy@plymouthchamber.com. In addition, I wanted to note for people who are out of work and need assistance with food, housing, utility, healthcare resources, to support this rapidly escalating need, the United Way has created the COVID-19 Community Response and Recovery Fund. And they are working with our local United Way office. You can learn more by calling 211 or the United Way office directly at 508-583-6306. In addition, all the chambers in Massachusetts have sprung into action and certainly assisting our businesses with critical needs. But in addition, we are working on recovery efforts and ideas for collaboration. So as those become concrete, I will communicate those to you. As always, we're encouraging viewers to support small businesses. They are truly the backbone of our community. So again, today I figured I would continue my efforts on a way how you can support a small business while you are at home. You can schedule your spring cleanups, painting projects with your landscapers and painters. It's going to be real easy. All you have to do is call them and schedule an appointment. So in addition, we're always working on ways the chamber to come together. We launched a Facebook group called PACC Coming Together. The purpose of this group is for members to share, vent, connect, and collaborate. During the uncertainty and time of isolation, it's important for our members to stay connected and collaborate with others. And we are also launching some new virtual networking meetings this week, so stay tuned. And as always, if you have any business-related questions, certainly reach out to myself or the chamber office at 508-830-1620 or directly to me by email at amy@plymouthchamber.com. We're here for you, here to listen, here to help really in any way we can. If we don't know the answers, we will help find them. Thank you, Steve.
That was Amy Naples. She's the Executive Director for the Plymouth Area Chamber of Commerce. She brings up a very good point. What you've seen on these daily updates is that we try to answer questions, and if we can't answer them immediately, we answer them the next day. On Saturday, we got some questions. Representative Muratore got the information, answered them yesterday on Sunday. Another question yesterday about sanitation. Not only did Amy answer that today, but after our program, we got updated sanitation recommendations from the town manager, which we've been distributing to restaurants. Last Friday, we decided to go daily with our update. Little did we anticipate that every day there'd be new information unfolding. And now joining us, Representative Matthew Muratore with today's update regarding the governor's order that came out a few hours ago. Welcome, Matt.
Thanks, Steve. I was actually looking for things to talk about today before 10 o'clock, but I found a lot now. Let me start with Chad first. Chad, under the governor's advisory, fishing is covered as essential employees under the food section. So the commercial fishing is still okay to go ahead. Let me just start with just a reminder. I'm not going to reiterate everything that everyone is saying, but This is at a stay-at-home advisory that the governor has announced. It's not a stay-at-home order, so it's a little bit different. What he is ordering, though, is for non-essential businesses to close their physical operations. So that's really what he's looking for. As Ken and Amy have been alluding to, this is really no different than really what we've been doing. It's just really some clarifications, trying to get more people to work remotely and from home if they can. As Ken indicated, there are a lot of essential businesses that are still open. One that people kind of forget about sometimes, but our pets. So the pet supply places are still open as well and will be. This is, again, not an order to stay in your home. Okay, it's not an order to stay in your home. It's encouraging people. He's encouraging people to go outside. Of course, practice safe social distancing and use common sense. Delivery and packaging is still available. Post office is still going to be working. The medical and pharmacy industry, MBTA, will still be working for essential people only. So if you need transportation, whether it's on a bus service, whether it's GATRA, whether it's the MBTA, please only use it for if you really have no other way to get to a store, et cetera. And if you do need health care, if you are feeling a little ill, again, contact your primary care who has access to telehealth, which is really what we are doing now. So as not to overload the hospitals, and they can prescribe and do all sorts of things remotely with you, either on the phone or FaceTime like we're doing. The categories under the governor's the governor's home advisory, they're very broad. They're healthcare, public health, human services, which includes blood banks. If you haven't seen or heard, the giving of blood has never been so desperate. So we really need people to go to contact the Red Cross, look to see where there's blood drives going on. I believe we have one here at the 1620 Hotel, I think this week and some next week. I know there are some on the Upper Cape happening next week as well, or you can go to the blood center in Raynham to give blood. I'm actually going to give platelets tomorrow too. So please encourage people to continue to give blood. Obviously, our first responders, public safety, law enforcement, food and agricultural, and that's why this is under Chad's question. Under food and agriculture, that is considered, commercial fishermen are considered part of that, essential folks. Energy, all sorts of energy folks are still working and needed to work, whether it's gas companies, electric companies, utility workers, wastewater treatment, plant workers, et cetera. Truck drivers, as I said, the postal service, automobile repair shops, delivery services, all open, all providing services. There's a whole section on transportation logistics. There's also a whole section on public works, which includes electricians, plumbers, trash removal folks, et cetera, exterminators, they're under there. Communication and IT, again, they can work from remote, but again, they are still working. They're still considered essential. Financial services, chemical, and some of the other daycare workers, essential daycare workers, they are still under the same order as they were last week. The daycares, there's 300 daycares that have opened up in the Commonwealth to this morning for drop-in centers for folks. So daycare workers are considered essential workers as well, and those continue to be maintained. Local inspections, and I'm sure the town will talk more about this, but those are considered as essential as the town needs to do those for whatever inspections they need to do. Hotels, construction workers. I know, Steve, you talked about legal and accounting and payroll services. Those are all still considered essential functions. Again, but if people can work as remotely off-site out of their professional office buildings as much as possible, that's what the governor is encouraging.
Thank you, Matt. That was Representative Matthew Muratore, and Matt is providing us with up-to-the-date information from the state. For your questions, you can go to PlymouthInfo@pac-tv.org. That's PACTV.org. Again, this is coming to you live, Fios Channel 47, Comcast Channel 15, or live streaming on pac-tv.org. And at this time, we're going to go back to each of the members of our panel today for some questions. Plymouth County District Attorney Tim Cruz. Tim, the other day, Plymouth County Register Matthew McDonough was explaining a little bit about entering into the courthouse and the triage that court officers perform. Again, as of today, the courthouses are open and the courts are open for limited business with emergencies. But if you could just tell again our listeners and viewers what they might expect if they were to go to a courthouse.
If somebody went to the courthouse, what they would see, they'd be met by court officers who would have a desk right in front of the glass door on the other side, and they would ask you, what is it that you're there for? What is your business? And if you said, like I said, you had something relatively nominal regarding like a speeding ticket or a hearing you were going to have with a clerk that day that had been scheduled probably for a month or two, they would tell you that will be rescheduled and you'll get a new date. The only things that they're going to allow people into the courthouse for is whether they are deemed to be emergencies. And that is going to be situations that have to be dealt with immediately, whether they be a restraining order or whether it be a Section 35 situation where somebody is having issues or mental health issues that they may be deemed to be a danger to themselves or somebody else. Other than that, if you show up at a courthouse, you are not going to be allowed in. They're going to tell you to come back if you have an attorney. If it's a criminal matter, your attorney will work it out with my office, whoever the assistant DA is. They'll pick a new date. As we sit here right now, the standing order from the court that came down last week, and there were a number of them, and I commend the trial court for really focusing on the issues as they came up. But the standing order said that basically courts as we know them and work there are not going to be the same until the earliest of April 21. And the effect that has is significant to the extent that right now that means that we can't run and conduct grand jury proceedings because we can't have more than 10 people in a room. And that's by statute, it's more than 10 people. So we're going to be in a position for now where we're going to be catching up. And if individuals are going to have bail hearings, like right now, there's been a push out there that there's been potentially a change in circumstance regarding individuals who are currently in custody. We will be having bail hearings. And quite honestly, I am expecting to hear almost like a parole argument regarding an individual, that there's a plan for somebody who's going to be released. If somebody is held in an amount of money that they cannot make, and there's going to be a bail hearing for that person, I think really one thing we have to look at, and I've spoken to Sheriff McDonald, who I know has spoken to other sheriffs here in the Commonwealth, where are these people, if they're released, going to go? What I don't want to see happen if somebody is released, and the only change in circumstances that there has been the coronavirus, is if they're going to be homeless, if they have no place to go, is there a plan for them to go somewhere? I think right now the best facility for some individuals is going to be inside the jail where they're going to be fed and have top quality health care, notwithstanding the challenges that it faces with social distancing and self-quarantine. So I think we're going to be looking at our bail reviews on a case-by-case basis and make a determination, not just what's best for that individual, but what's best for public safety here in the county of Plymouth for the more than 500,000 people that live and reside here and work. I think we're going to be making our determinations that way, and we'll see what happens from there. But like we've all said, this is a very fluid situation and things change relatively quickly. And so we may be having some more information, but for now, as long as we're abiding by DPH, CDC, and OSHA rules and regulations as best as we can, I think that we're on solid footing going forward.
Plymouth County District Attorney Tim Cruz, you've heard the other members who are participating today. If there's anything else based on what they've said that comes to mind, but I would ask you, since Michael Botieri, Plymouth Police Chief, is going to come on another day, he's busily meeting right now with the Fire Chief. Can you tell us that your office is still in close contact with both the Plymouth Police Department as well as the other police departments throughout the county?
Right, we're always in touch with all of our police departments. We have 27 towns. It was 26 towns in the city of Brockton, as well as Bridgewater State University and Massasoit Community College, who were always dealing with their prosecutors. And what happens is, if there is a state crime that occurs in your town, if there's a local crime that occurs in your town, the police prosecutors and the policemen will take out the initial paperwork. It'll be brought to the courthouse where my office will pick it up. For anything more serious than that, say a homicide, say a major drug case, trafficking case that may be going on, the state police were assigned to the Plymouth DA's office, work and investigate all unattended deaths, people who pass away, not necessarily at a nursing home or at a facility. If somebody passes away at their home, say here in Plymouth, the Plymouth police would reach out to the detectives assigned to my office, who would go out and work with the local police to make a determination that there was nothing suspicious about that death. That happens every day in our county. And our police have a great working relationship with the state police, who also have a great working relationship with our federal authorities, which is why I said earlier, if there are going to be crimes that occur at this time regarding internet safety issues and people are trying to scam you, sometimes the jurisdiction of those cases exceeds Plymouth County, and sometimes it exceeds the confines of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, meaning we have to work with our federal partners. So we work all very well together. We share information. I will tell you that our arraignments from the last week are down significantly from the normal amount that we were dealing with, not just here in Plymouth County, but also in the whole county. So I think the police are working hard together, and I know that they're also being very careful, trying to protect themselves as they're out there as first responders, our police, our fire, our EMTs, the men and women who are out there every day who are risking their lives. And now the new first responders that are dealing with the nurses and doctors at our healthcare facilities, all of whom are doing their jobs and making sure that we're all safe. So I think that we're on good ground right now. And I think for now, it's all, like I said earlier, let's make sure we go slowly, we get information, we assess it, and we all try to stay as safe and healthy as we can.
Thank you. That was Plymouth County District Attorney Tim Cruz. And as he mentions local police, every day we receive an update from the town manager. And in order to help our local law enforcement people, town manager encourages us to continue to remain at least 6 feet away from others, even while outside. Do not congregate in groups, either indoors or outdoors. Currently in Plymouth, the playgrounds and parks are closed to group recreation, but you can continue to walk, to run, to bike outside with members of your immediate household or alone. The roads are open and you're not prohibited from driving. However, we do ask that you stay home as much as possible and avoid coming into contact with others. And we're here in contact virtually with Chad Hunter, Plymouth Harbormaster. Chad, you've heard the people in our group talking. Anything else you'd like to add to those who are watching?
Yeah, we've had a couple of frequent questions come up over the last couple of weeks, and I could address those now. We've had people inquiring about mooring bills, which are currently on hold, and we're going to extend the due date out. Right now, trying to mail them from Town Hall with Town Hall being closed is a bit difficult, so those will go out as soon as possible. And like I said, we'll be extending the due date, give people at least 30 days to get those paid. So if you haven't seen your mooring bill yet, that is the reason why. The other questions we've received are how are the moorings going back in? And currently the contractor that is working on bringing the moorings back in, we've provided him with the information, the data sets that he needs to put these moorings back into their GPS locations. So he was planning on continuing with that and getting these moorings set. So that is still moving. Big question will be the Plymouth 400th events. Obviously, with the opening ceremony being postponed, we're still hopeful at this point that the Maritime Salute at the end of June is still going to happen. But like I said, with such a fluid situation, we probably won't know exactly until we get a little closer. We've also had some questions about parking permits at the boat ramp and shellfish licenses. And what we've decided to do is anybody that has a license from the previous year, that is still considered active, even if it has expired. Again, shellfish licenses are purchased through the town clerk's office, which is not available at this time. So that is still open. Just bring your previous year shellfish license, have that with you when you go. And obviously the boat ramp, as we get a little closer to spring, and we see the weather improve, people have been inquiring about the boat ramp stickers, which are also sold at the town clerk's office, or the town collector's office, sorry. And, you know, with those not being available, we're not going to be ticketing or requiring those stickers. If you have a previous year sticker, that's fine until we can get things sort of back to somewhat normal and stickers available for purchase.
That was Chad Hunter. He is the Plymouth Harbormaster. We're continuing to receive updates even as we're on air. I just received an update from our local hospital, and this comes officially from Christopher Smalley, and he tells us that they're posting public alerts to the hospital's website when warranted, and that website is bidplymouth.org, and specifically COVID-19-updates. He wants us to remember that if you're experiencing any one of the following COVID-19 symptoms, which would be symptoms of fever, sore throat, nasal congestion, shortness of breath, or headache, or if you travel to any of the countries listed on the CDC travel warnings, or if you've been in contact with someone who has been diagnosed with the COVID-19, please contact your primary care provider prior to visiting a healthcare facility or the hospital. Your provider will determine the appropriate steps for you to take, which may be to stay at home or to reduce the possibility of spreading the disease to others. Only in certain situations require a visit to the hospital or another location for a COVID-19 testing. Now, if you don't have a primary care physician, we ask that you call the hospital before visiting in person. And if you're experiencing a medical emergency, you still call 911. BID Plymouth and all Beth Israel Lahey Health Hospitals and physicians' offices are prepared to respond to the pandemic. And finally, for more information, go to the website or call the Mass Department of Public Health by calling 211. Visitor restrictions remain in effect. Tomorrow we will put this graphic up during our daily broadcast so that you can read it. And now at this time, we're going to continue returning back to Amy Naples. She is the Executive Director, Plymouth Area Chamber of Commerce. Amy.
Hi, Steve. So I think we truly have the best community. I think our town has truly come together to support one another. I hear something every day that makes me proud, from the local firefighters spending around $8,000 to support the local restaurants, to all the people at home sewing face masks for our healthcare providers. I think COVID-19 is a true test to the collective strength and spirit in our town. So I want to ask you all to do one more thing. Let's show support for all our hospital and healthcare workers who are in the front line during this time. Hang a red heart in your window, door, your house, your business to show support for them and let them know how thankful we are. Stay well and support small business.
Thank you, Amy Naples, Executive Director, Plymouth Area Chamber of Commerce. And now as we go round our group, we're going to move to Matt Muratore, our state representative. Matt.
Thank you, Steve. A couple more updates that I'm just getting into. Questions about real estate. It looks like real estate is not an essential part of it, so showing homes and all that will cease for the next 2 weeks. Just to clarify too, under the governor's order, it further reduces public gatherings to 10 people. So we need to keep that in mind as well. Again, the DPH is advising that folks to try to avoid other people, just to stay at homes, go outside in your yard, unnecessary activities, stay away from that for the next couple of weeks. And you know, and the reason that this is being so aggressive is because the sooner we can get rid of this virus, the sooner we can start getting back to our normal way of life. So we're hoping that within 2 weeks, this is going to actually help. You know, of course, it will be assessed on a daily basis. But if everyone does their part, confident we'll be getting through this. And as I always say, I think we'll be getting through this much quicker if we follow this advice, and then we'll get through this much stronger as well. There are more tests coming on daily and happening a lot quicker now. The numbers will increase. There's no doubt about it. We shouldn't be surprised when we see the news every day to see the numbers of confirmed cases have increased. They will increase. We want them to increase because that means we're getting more and more testing. We're trying to get up to 3,500 tests per day being done. And then this way we can start isolating and start figuring out where they're tracing everything back to where it's all happening, and get back again to some normality at some point. And we're also making some progress on the personal protective equipment. When we're not at critical shortage as New York, California, and Washington are, we're getting close, but we're making progress on getting some of that equipment in for people. So stay strong, stay positive, and reach out to those that are isolated, particularly the elders, to make sure they're doing okay. And if they need something at the store, help out your neighbor, help out your elder neighbor to help them out by not having them go outside, and helping them by getting the medications or groceries or whatever they need. So again, thank you for PACTV, all our first responders, our healthcare providers, our daycare providers, all the frontline people for what they're doing and to keeping us safe and keeping us sane. So thank you, Steve, for what you're doing, and of course, PACTV.
Thank you, Representative Matthew Muratore. He'll be joining us every day along with Kenneth Tavares, Chair of the Board of Selectmen. And before we go to Ken for our closing statement, just want to let you know some of the people that have been invited to participate tomorrow. Edward Bradley, he's the Plymouth Fire Chief. Kenneth Fosdick, Chair of the Plymouth Airport Commission, has agreed to join us. I just got a confirmation while we're on air from Thomas Marr. He's the airport manager. Many of you may not be aware of the essential services that they provide to many organizations, including the state police. We'll hear about that tomorrow. Stephen Cole is the executive director of the Plymouth Regional Economic Development Foundation. He'll be giving us the business update. And at this time, we're going to go back to Kenneth Tavares, Chair of the Board of Selectmen. Ken.
Thank you, Steve. Just to sum up briefly, we are headed in the right direction. We knew that the course would be tough in the beginning, but there is light at the end of this tunnel. The town departments are working extremely well together. People are contributing. Work starts, most can't see, starts early in the morning and goes through the late into the evening. I believe that the community has pulled together. It's doing what it has to do. We need to support the request from the governor. I think this is one way that we're going to be able to defeat this virus. We have much more work to do, but we're proving it daily through good acts, through people showing up for their jobs, that we can do it. I am convinced that Plymouth will come out of this stronger and better than we've ever been in our 400-year history. Thank you.
Thank you. That is Ken Tavares, Chair of the Board of Selectmen. I want to thank all the participants, not only Ken, Representative Matthew Muratore, Plymouth County District Attorney Tim Cruz, Chad Hunter, our Harbormaster, Amy Naples, the Executive Director of Plymouth Area Chamber of Commerce, and special thanks to PACTV. PACTV has been providing the studio and providing the production support every day so that the town of Plymouth can provide you with this daily update. We'll be returning tomorrow at 12 noon because PACTV is considered an essential service as media. Please join us tomorrow. This is Steve Triffletti, Plymouth Town Moderator. Good day and thank you.